I'm Cheryl Peralt here for Meet Your Neighbor. Today we're here at the Hopkinton Fire Department and we're about to meet Chief Ken Clark. Thank you for meeting with me today. Ken, can you tell me at first, how many years have you been living here in Hopkinton?
I have lived in Hopkinton, very lucky to live in Hopkinton my entire life.
Yeah. And how long would that be?
55 years.
55 years?
You're just over, almost 56.
And you come from ancestors who've been here for a
I
number
have
of
some
years before you.
documentation that shows a picture of great-great-grandfather living on Mayhew Street in 1888.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's something. And we're here in the fire station today, where you work as chief for the past near 4 years. Is that right?
It'll be 3 years in May, and welcome to our very beautiful station.
It is a beautiful station here. And you had mentioned that your family had also been working in the line of firefighting.
Yeah, I'm actually third generation on the Hopkinton Fire Department. I had a grandfather who was a captain in the 30s to the 50s, and my father did 30 plus years as a call firefighter, and I joined the department as a call firefighter 40 years ago this month, and then went career in November of 1978.
Wow, well, that's a long line of work in this field. And you had mentioned you got started actually in high school?
We did. There was 2 or 3 of us that were, one of the gentlemen that came in on the group that I came in as Jim Danny. He was still with us as a call firefighter. And a cousin of mine was Mike Haywood, who was not with us any longer, did 20 plus years. But we came in at 15 and a half, the last bunch to do that. Then it went the minimum age was raised to 18 after that for insurance purposes. And we were very lucky to have some people that were in the building that I consider life mentors, and accepted us at a young age, and when we had some challenges at that age, you know what I mean, and brought us in, and we got direction, and we got some leadership, and did nothing but help us.
Oh, that's good to hear. That was one of my questions actually about mentors, or one in particular maybe that you can think of or identify at some point in your life you would consider a life mentor.
Well, actually, personally, I have 2 that are here. I know you asked for one, but one was Chief Stewart, who was chief from the early 60s until 1988, and was instrumental in building the Hopkinton Fire Department, the foundation which we still have today. And the other one was Lieutenant Artie Pine, who is no longer active with us. He's retired, but just that the people of that generation were critical to giving you good work habits, and never letting you forget why we do the job. You know what I mean? We're here to help people every day, and come prepared and bring your A game every day, and don't forget why you're here ever. And those people were constant with that message, and it's instinctive for most people now.
That's good to hear.
That's a good question. Thank you for asking that.
And you have continued to live in Hopkinton, working here, and you're married, and you have 4 children that you have raised here.
My wife Marie and I have, who has also been a Hopkinton resident her entire life, and we raised 4 boys in 3 houses within 300 yards of each other. We moved a little bit each time, from Hayden Road to Pleasant to Grove, and and now we're settled on Grove. The boys have 2 have been through the school system in Hopkinton, 2 are still going through, and I was very lucky through the boys. I've got to meet a segment of the population with a lot of the youth sports that met a lot of great people in Hopkinton. The town is made up. And those are the people that I work with for, you know what I mean, and I enjoy seeing those people all the time.
Well, let's see, I'm going back and forth a little bit between your work and your living here for all your life, as well as your family before you. I had talked with you before. You got started in the work of firefighting when you were 18 in high school, and wondering about how you got inspired to get involved in that work, whether your family before you.
Well, I think it was mostly driven by family. It was 15 and a half when I started, and my father was in, two of my uncles, and two brothers after me, and probably prior to my coming in, probably like 3 or 4 cousins. So it's been the Hopkinton Fire Department is for many, many years been has drawn family together to do the job here.
And is it something that you recommend to your own sons?
Not openly. I let them make their own decisions. They know what's here. They know what needs to be done to be successful in this job, and they will chart their own paths.
That's good to hear. And best wishes to them.
Yeah, whatever they do.
They're age ranging now.
15 to 23.
Yeah. All right. How much time would you say as chief that you spend here in this facility?
It's like I think most days it's like in the 8 to 10 hour range, and then you on some nights you might catch a couple of meetings at the town hall a couple times a week, something like that, for whatever reason. And there's a number of boards and committees that we interface with for a number of reasons, and then you have the recall, which you'll respond to off duty. For instance, yesterday morning, sitting at 6 o'clock eating my breakfast, and we did a serious motor vehicle accident, and you just respond to those and assist in whatever the incident requires. And it just happens all the time. It's been like that forever, and my wife still looks at me funny when I put my clothes every night beside the bed, so that when I get up to move, it's all right there, ready to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And depending on the type of the year, it's this time of the year it's a little bit heavier, because you know you might be out. And I think last week we responded at just around 00:30 hours to a 3-alarm fire in Milford, and walked up the street, been on the street many, many times over the year for fires, and said to the Milford chief, I said, Chief, I think we'll see the sun come up here. So it was going to be a long night. You could tell by the way the building was burning, and the guys did a great job. No one was hurt. And I think we cleared at 6:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? So it was like, that's part of the job. You know what I mean? That's the part of the job I think everyone enjoys the most. And it's like, you just do it like before. You got a job to do, you just do what you got to do and get it done and go home. Everyone goes home safe.
And you don't know when that will be. And
sometimes you don't. Like go out the door, and sometimes it's 10 minutes and sometimes it's 10 hours. It's what it is.
Yeah, well, that's quite a bit of dedication and commitment to that work.
Yeah, but you buy in on it when you take the job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It comes with the job.
Yeah. And how many people work here as staff?
Right now we have 25 career staff. There's 20 of those are the duty groups, which are made up of 4 firefighters and 1 lieutenant in each group. And then we have the administrative staff, which is myself as the chief, Deputy Chief Steve Slamman. We have Tom Poirier as the training lieutenant. And then we also have the fire inspector, who is Bob Santucci, who goes out and works very closely with the building inspector, safety in the buildings, and makes sure our structures are safe, the schools, does the inspections when someone sells a home. Any inspections that's required under the fire prevention regulations, he will be taking care of that responsibility. And then we have one admin person, who is Mary Carver, that's been with us 15 plus years, and she does a really good job on the day-to-day running and keeping track of the department for me. Does a very good job.
No, that's good to hear. How would you say that the work varies for those working here as firefighters? And
it's as diversified from second to second, where you could step off the truck coming from a brush fire, where you go on a call on a medical, and you could be delivering a baby, just like that. You roll, get out of one door, get in another one, and go and do what you got to do. There are some times that there is some downtime in the station, with the addition of the training lieutenant in 2007, excuse me, we were able to we identified a need that training was critical for our people on a daily basis during the week when the groups are in. So we have a training lieutenant that delivers a really, really nice training package to the personnel on a daily basis when they're here, when he's in Monday through Thursday, and does a real great job, puts a lot of time into it, and is very, very faithful with that. It's a hard job to do. And he delivers the same message to the 4 duty groups and works with the lieutenants to deliver that.
In helping people, you must see a range of situations through the years, and I was wondering if you have a thought of one of the most joyous occasions. Perhaps that would be delivering a baby or something like that.
We've been involved with quite a few delivering of babies. I haven't personally done one, but I've looked over a lot of shoulders to help the guys do that. I think that sometimes it's as simple as the smile you get from somebody when you help them. It's like or when someone's seriously injured and they give you a nod, like they know that you're trying to help them, and they acknowledge. They might not be able to talk with you, but you get that little like silent acknowledgement from them that they realize what you're doing. It's always. I think the guys get a special thing from helping the children when they need some help, whatever it is, wherever it is, and or just even the satisfaction after when you get a really serious fire, and we come back to the station and we talk about that, and it's like that gives the group here a lot of self-satisfaction.
Yeah, I wondering, I wonder what ways community have said thank you for the services here to those who work, and you're just saying some ways we don't think of as much that do not involve a material expression, but that are very meaningful, and that's something we don't really think about.
Ever since I came in, the community has been very, very supportive of the Hopkins Fire Department. Anywhere from there's a woman who will remain unnamed, I won't share her name, that every week since 9/11 has brought us baked goods. I mean, twice a week some weeks. And she feels bad when she goes on vacation because she might miss a schedule. And she knows all the duty groups, so she knows if there's someone that can't eat nuts on this particular group, when she brings something in, she'll make the stuff accordingly. And she makes small but very, very delicious type things. She brings them in for the guys. In the town, on the holidays, there's an outpouring from the community what they bring in here. If we have some serious incidents, which we've had, that community steps up and helps us with those things, and bring in, whether it's donating something or helping us do something like that. It's like the community is always there, and there's such a super relationship there, and that's what makes it so special to work here. Not only live, but work here.
Oh, that's good to hear. Can you think of a day that was most pivotal in your years of work in teaching you about the job or about life in some way that really made a difference to you?
Not one. I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think there's one day in my career that does that. I think it's an accumulation of all the days put together. You know what I mean? There's not one thing that said, because when this is this isn't a job, this is a career, and a lot of things that we do drive you to, I got to get better at this, or get better at that, and make you train harder so that next time when you run into that, you can do that better, and you kind of develop I always looked at it as it's kind of like a PowerPoint in your brain, and it's like you'll see something that happens, and it might be a little different than the last time, but you'll say that slide will pop in and say, we were successful doing this the last time, and it takes sometimes many years to develop that in-house PowerPoint program, you know what I mean, in your brain, and that picture will come in, and the things that we did so that was operationally sound and safe, and we overcame that hurdle that day because of that, and that will come out and say, oh, we can do that this way, and we'll be all set. And it's like, but it's the interaction. I think that a lot of it has to do. We went back to the mentoring before. There's always some people that were standouts in that, like I mentioned, Chief Stewart and Artie Pine. But there's also there's a lot of people that had influence in that, a lot of influence. And you know what I mean? And it's very hard to rank them because they all, in their own little way, helped you develop and helped the department develop so that you could better serve the town and have that right attitude.
Oh, that is good to hear. If you were to give one message from what you've learned in your work, what do you think it's most important for a community to keep in mind about public safety?
That's a tough question. There's a lot of different little things, you know what I mean? I said, and it's, make sure that you have the service that you need for the community and the hazards present in the community. Make sure you have the community might always not agree with some of the things that you want to do. It might be a purchase of a piece of vehicle or adding additional personnel, but just to evaluate some of the concepts openly with an open mind, and look at what's trying to be done, and form positive, open discussion, or I'm actually missing the word to be here. Sitting here, honestly, I'm missing the word to describe what I was trying to say. And that's I'd have to think about that one for a while and get the right wording for that. That's a good question, but it's like I don't have I'm missing the word to answer it correctly, you know what I mean?
Well, it sounds like you're talking about working together, being open and willing to, in order to help one another.
And solve issues or potential problems in the community as a group. And listen to all sides, and then make a good, sound decision what's good for the town and also what's good for the individual department, whether it's police, fire, DPW, whatever.
Yeah, well, that sounds like good advice. How about within one's home in particular? Is there something people could use a reminder about
I think,
you run into?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that we're running into over the years is to keep your house as safe as possible. Make sure that the wiring is in good shape. Make sure your smoke detectors are installed and working. Those are the kind of things that the chimneys are clean and working properly. Those are the kind of things that when you have a problem with it, sometimes the problem develops very rapidly and could be a threat to the people in the house. And if we keep all those things as safe as possible and keep on top of those, it kind of like diminishes the potential to your individual family, and be prepared as individuals and families. Like in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of severe weather events. I still think in the back of my mind that the community has a response, or the departments have a responsibility to the community to be prepared to deal with severe weather events and fires. But I also think that the individuals and the families have their own responsibility to be prepared also. Like if it's to have a storm kit, which we put on the websites and identify, and because we can't always get to everybody right away after an emergency, so people have to have that ability to help themselves. And if you do need help, call 911, and so that we can move some help to you. But the families and the individuals have a certain amount of responsibility on their to help with those severe weather events also.
That is helpful to know. Going back a bit in Hopkinton, away from your firefighting days, what are some of your memories as a child in this town? What sticks out in your mind first? Perhaps things that you were involved with?
Probably young would be, I can remember watching the marathon as a young child, and it was always the same week as they had open a day for fishing. And years ago, it was closed in the winter to fishing, so it would be like an open day. I can remember my friends and I and some family members, we would have all our stuff ready, watch the marathon, and head to the reservoir and catch trout. And there's places in town where you could like catch a lot of fish, and we'd go in there, and that was part of growing up in Hopkinton, and then riding back uptown with a bunch of trout on a stringer, heading home, and
Did you have them for dinner?
we did. We would eat, and we would share them with, you know what I mean, with family members. When some of the ones that weren't able to do that anymore, and it's like that was all part of growing up in Hopkinton. The Hopkinton is like has just the geographic special things that we have in Hopkinton, like the State Park and Sell Hill and all the areas, Echo Lake. Those are always things that we spent a lot, the quarries growing up, we spent a lot of time in the quarries, and I don't advocate that. It's like that could be very unsafe for someone that didn't know what they were doing there, but it's like that was part of growing up in Hopkinton, and you enjoyed that. And
Exploring outside.
yeah, there was a lot of things to do in town. It's like you can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy type of thing, you know? It's like, and I know my boys have enjoyed some of those things also, and some of my nephews, and it's still there for everyone to enjoy. It hasn't changed much, some of them. There's a lot more houses now, but there's areas that are still fun to get into like that are like out in the middle of the woods, and fun to be at.
Are there still a lot of trout?
I would never tell anybody where. No, I actually don't get to draw that as much anymore. So it's like, you know, when we were growing up, there was areas where you could catch native fish. You know what I mean? That I don't know how rare those are now. You know what I mean? I just don't get to have my hand in it that much anymore. But we would catch native brookies, and I don't know if they're still there. I haven't been to some of those areas in 20 years. So it's like,
Wow.
yeah, a lot of fun.
So some good memories.
Very good memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you say that Hopkinton has changed the most?
I think it's changed the most by there was that influx of a lot of people when the town grew there. I think when I grew up, there was like 5,000 or 6,000 people in town, and that influx. But I think the vast majority of the influx has been very good for the town of Hopkinton. There's been a lot of people that have come to town that with positive attitudes, wanting to make the town better, and there's been a lot of changes, but that's happened everywhere.
Yeah. And how would you say it stayed the same?
I think it moved on. There's been I think you still get some of the rural areas and some of the nooks and crannies that were like before. It's changed that way, you know what I mean? But you still, like going back to what we said about, you still have the State Park, and there's some other big areas that are undeveloped, and that's still the same. And it's like, but I think for the most part it's been good.
The natural beauty of it is
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
something
yeah.
I think we lose sight of as we grow.
We don't. I don't think we, as a society, I don't think we stop enough to enjoy that. You know what I mean?
Okay, and I understand that when you had free time, some of that, a good part of that was spent being a coach in our community for a number of sports.
I enjoyed that immensely, and with the four boys, it was quite a few sports teams, and I got to meet a lot of great people, and that's one of the things that I really enjoyed was all the assistant coaches and coaching the boys, and it's like you just got to meet so many more families that I wouldn't know other than through that, and it's been very, very positive. You know what I mean? I didn't run into any of those, never had any issues when I was coaching like you hear someone run into, and it's like I think it's all that you got to bring a positive attitude and know why you're there before you start. And it's like not the coach you're there about, you're there for, it's for the kids. And it's like some years I had 2 baseball teams in 1 year, so it was like it was a good run. It's over now. Now I'm sitting watching, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
That's great. Would you say you've been fond of sports through the years too?
You could say that, yeah.
Since you were a boy, you were
I played
athletic.
football and basketball all the way through high school, and that's one of my highlights, and I still have a lot of close friends from that I went to high school with. I graduated in 1974, and I think the big thing in those days, the town was a little different. That the tradition with traditional football game with Ashland was huge for both communities at that time, and that was always. And I don't think it's got the importance that it did at that time. Now, you know what I mean? Because it's not, the rivalry isn't there anymore now. But that was huge, and it's like, and always enjoyed those games immensely.
That's great to hear. So community, working with people, time spent in sports and outdoors are some of the things that you have favored in your life, in addition to your commitment to family and your work in firefighting and as chief now, it sounds like. Are there any other hidden talents or hobbies that have been part of your life as well? Or
I think the only thing is, like, I thoroughly enjoyed growing up in an outdoor society. Hunting, fishing has always been a special passion of mine, and don't get to do it as much anymore. But it's like always been in. And I think that the community aspect of it is that the community's been very good to me, and it was. And I think a long time ago I thought, you got to kind of give back when you can. Can't ever, all the time, but when you can, you do, and hopefully it makes a difference with somebody.
Hello, welcome to HCAM Insights. Did you know that Hopkinton's television station has a website with all kinds of Hopkinton information just waiting for you? We have growing sections for business listings and community groups, a comprehensive veterans area, local news, lots of pictures of life in Hopkinton, hours and hours of television programming, naturally, and lots of other things that won't fit into this update. I should do an update about this update.